All right. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. How long's it been going off? Okay, so this is day 2 of true practice cross examination. Okay, let's just get into it because I'm late. All right.
Did that refresh your recollection about a question and answer that you had, or a series of questions and answers that you had while you were testifying under oath in that other proceeding?
Yes, sir. Objection, may we approach?
Yes.
Okay, what's the problem? I have about an hour. I know I'm late, but I know I'm late. I have about an hour, then I have to call it a night. I got distracted. I got home early, and then I just started cleaning and doing laundry and all types of things. All right, come on.
You are unmuted.
Okay.
Question, quote, did you communicate with First Assistant DA Beeland that you did not know and had no relationship with the Albert and McCabe families? And you answered, quote, to the best of my recollection, the same conversation took place with everyone.
What's up, old bag? How are you doing? I had to move the live up. I was cleaning. Okay, I was cleaning. I'm not done with my laundry, but I don't have too much to do tomorrow. So
because it's the same.
Hope you guys had a great day. Okay, I'm a little sleepy. I'm sleepy. I'm sleep deprived. Last night, usually whenever I get off this live, I do get off early, but I actually never go to sleep. I'm always doing cleaning. There's always something going on. But tonight I really need to go to bed early, kind of.
Same answer. It's the facts that I shared with everyone. Question, meaning you told First Assistant Beeland that you didn't know, didn't have a relationships with.
Objection, Your Honor.
Members of the Albert and McCabe families. Answer, correct.
Yes, that's correct.
So your question is whether he said this?
Correct. Whether that's his testimony.
That was the basis.
You recall that?
Conviction.
Yes.
And that's your testimony that you, in fact, told members of the DA's office that you did not know and did not have a relationship with the Alberts or McCabe's. Is that right?
I did not know the McCabe's. I don't know most of the Alberts, and I have little to no relationship with Chris and Julie. So that's what I meant by that answer.
Well, the question wasn't, did you know most of the Alberts? The question was, did you have a relationship with, or did you know the Alberts? And your answer was,
no, I don't have a relationship with the Alberts.
You knew half an Albert.
Or know them.
I don't know the McCabe's. I don't have a relationship with the Alberts.
So you do know the Alberts, correct?
Half of them.
I know some of them, Julie and Chris.
And Colin, correct?
Correct, and Colin.
And you knew the Alberts when you gave this testimony in February of 2024. Is that right?
Yeah, they asked if there was any relationships.
And
what's up, Benji?
Meaning you told First Assistant.
Oh, bag, I don't sound sick. Or maybe I do sound sick. I don't feel sick. I'm tired. I didn't get enough sleep because I went to bed way too late. What's up, Benji? And I went to work very early, and I'm tired because I've been fighting with insurance companies all day. So
Beeland, that you didn't know, didn't
really
have relationships with members of the Alberts and members of the Albert and McCabe families. Answer, correct.
Mm-hmm.
Was that ambiguous in your mind?
The way I interpreted relationships was basically being like friends or, communications, frequent communications. That's how I interpreted.
Well, that might have been a good.
Are you working, Benji?
Good time to pipe up and say, well, I know Chris and I know Julie and I know Colin, correct?
Objection.
Sustained.
That might have been a good time to answer the question. I know these three individuals, from the Albert family, right?
Objection.
That was sustained. So move on to another question.
But your answer was one word, correct, right?
Yes.
You further testified that you never have gone to any supervisor at Massachusetts State Police to disclose even a potential conflict of interest in this case that you might have, correct?
Correct.
And you indicated the needs never come up. Is that right?
He said what?
You indicated the needs never come up.
Okay.
Is that right?
Correct.
You also told ADA Lally that you, quote, did not have
Okay.
relationships with,
Is today your off day?
did not have relationships or know members of the Albert or McCabe family.
I'm honored that you're spending your day off with us, Benji. I'm really honored.
Correct?
Correct.
And that's just not true, is it?
What's not
You
true?
did know relationships or know members of the Albert or McCabe families, correct?
Correct.
And that's just not true, is it? You did know, you do know
How does he
members
answer?
of the Albert family. Isn't that right?
It's different from having a relationship with people.
But what about part of the question, did not have relationships or know members of the Albert or McCabe families? How about that part of the question?
Well, that's lumped in with the McCabes. I don't know the McCabe family, sir.
I see. So what you did, Trooper Proctor, is you dissected the sentence, and where relationships are concerned, you ignored that in terms of the Alberts because you don't have relationships. Where no is concerned, you link that to the McCabes because you don't know the McCabes. That's what you did?
No.
So it's sustained. You can ask it. You can break it down, Mr. Jackson.
Not sure I can. I'll ask it a different way. How about if I just ask it this way? That was a lie, wasn't it?
No, absolutely not.
You stand by that testimony?
Yes.
That you don't know at the time that you testified, that you didn't know the Alberts or any members of the Albert family?
They don't have relationships with them.
Right. My question
All right,
is, you keep going back to relationships. I'm asking you,
Well, welcome to court.
did you testify that you didn't know them?
Objection.
I'll let him have it. Do you understand the question, Trooper?
Dad said he's
I
going
knew
to let him have it.
Chris, Julie, and Colin.
So if you were to say, I don't know any members of the Albert family, that would have been a lie, correct?
Objection.
Sustained.
Your Honor, this is the point at which I intend to turn to tab 3, and I believe we need to approach.
Jurors, feel free to stand.
Oh, man, he's sweating bullets. I mean, it's not really visible on his face. Maybe because he's a trained witness. I hope they don't have as many sidebars during the second trial. They need to hash everything out beforehand. Dang, that's long. Do they ever come back? Honestly, while I was cleaning, I probably could have been live. I could have done that. I'd have been distracted. I was distracted.
May I have just a moment, Your Honor?
Yes.
Yeah, how's your pet, Benji? How's your roomie? It might be the landlord at this time or the landlady. I'm going to ask. Let us move
Yes.
on.
Courtney Proctor is one of your best friends. Proctor, you've indicated that your sister is one of your best friends, maybe your best friend.
Oh, right. I believe wasn't Courtney friends with Jen McCabe or something along those lines? Or was it somebody else?
Yes.
Courtney Proctor, that's your name? Courtney
Correct.
Proctor. Elberg?
I'm sorry?
Her last name?
Elberg.
Elberg, with an L. And you're aware that she is also very, very good friends with Jillian Daniels, Julie Albert.
Oh, so it's
Correct.
Alberts, not the McCabes.
Are you aware of any circumstance in which any of the Alberts have been over to your parents' house?
Yes.
What's up, Fever?
Have you ever been over at your parents' house when any of the Alberts
Shout
have
out to
been at your
Fever.
parents' house?
Yes.
I don't know, Fever, Jerome, what's up, Jerome? Were you guys here last night? Because if you're not here last night, I guess I have to go back to the fireworks. Unless Old Bag and Benji don't want to watch that again. Old Bag said you can clean and be live or whatever. You guys would be here. Okay. Old Bag's very excited to see Fever. Let's see. Benji's talking about his pet. Okay, so this is the same case, Fiva. This is the we're still going over the Karen Reed case. The woman that's accused of taking out her was a boyfriend, fiance that was an officer. So that's what we're going over. And this is cross-examination of Trooper Proctor, who's very problematic. Okay. Oldback's excited to see Jerome. So I don't know, Oldback, Benji, do you guys mind watching Proctor's problematic testimony again, or do you want to pass? What's up, Brooklyn?
Those Alberts include Chris Albert, Julie Albert, Colin Albert, correct?
Correct.
Okay, what's wrong?
As a matter of fact, you were on or around January 29th, 2022, you were close enough friends with Julie Albert that she had your personal cell phone in her cell phone, correct? And vice versa.
I wouldn't classify us as close friends at all.
Okay, let me get back to my question. Did you have her cell phone in your phone, and did she have yours?
Okay, he's thinking. He's going to say, I had her number. I don't know if she had mine. Something along those lines, because he's doing a whole lot of thinking. Calculations.
I can't recall if I believe I had her stored in my phone.
Tab 4. All right. If you would turn to tab 4.
And what was this marked for ID?
This was.
Or tell me the numbers at the bottom.
Oh, I've got the sheet right here. I've got a cheat sheet. Tab 4.
Did you have a good day, Fiva?
As in Bravo.
Okay, so all right.
For the court,
so Oldbeck says they have to, they need to hear it. Ben just said no problem. Okay, so I'd actually marked the timestamp last night because I just could not. Hearing this man's testimony a second time, or at least what he said about Karen Reed, was just unbelievable. So I did not, hold on, because I only wrote it down this morning while I was at work. Let me check my notes. It was either 127 or 172. So I'll start with 127 and see if that's the right timestamp.
Yes.
Into your objective.
Hold on.
From all accounts, he didn't do a thing wrong. She's a whack job cunt.
Oh, there we go.
Follow the facts and the evidence from that.
We're going to put serious charges on the girl. This has to be cut and dry because some serious charges brought on the girl. Isn't that right?
Correct.
And the reason you wrote that is because you knew, as the text above it says.
Okay, so we just went back in time. This is a text chain between Proctor and his friends. A lot of it is just, I don't know. He kind of, not that he kind of got caught. He definitely got caught.
This has to be.
But apparently, his texts and statements about the defendant were not enough for some jurors. It was not a big deal. It's not the biggest deal.
Cut and dry because it involves cops, right?
Objection.
I'm going to allow that. Is that the reason you wrote it?
No, Your Honor.
And then you indicated,
yeah,
we're going to put serious charges on the girl. Who did you mean by the girl, by the way?
The defendant.
Karen Reed?
Yes, sir.
Where did you get this information from, Oldbag? I don't have, again, apart from YouTube and Reddit, I don't actually have any other modes of social media.
So the way that you were going to make it cut and dry, pretty simple. Just pin it on the girl, right?
Objection.
Fiva's really funny. Well, I'm glad you're enjoying yourself, Fiva. Jerome, did you have a good day?
Is that right?
Absolutely not. Follow the facts and the evidence from that day on the 29th.
You don't smoke.
Everything led to
Maybe you do,
Miss
I don't
Reed
know.
hitting Mr. O'Keefe with her vehicle.
But that wasn't the question that you were answering, was it? We're going to follow the evidence and make sure we do this thoroughly. The question you were answering was, I assume you guys, you, Trooper Proctor, and your team are going to, quote, make it cut and dry, since it involves cops, meaning Brian Albert, correct?
Incorrect. Doesn't matter to me if the homeowner's a cop, if the victim's a police officer. Myself and everyone in my office investigated this case that Saturday, had an overwhelming amount of evidence that Miss Reed struck Mr. O'Keefe. So it didn't matter to us what their occupation was.
We'll see. Let's keep reading, shall we?
Objection improper.
5051,
Commentary.
a little further down, says, gotta be, I could only imagine what internal affairs at BPD are trying to get out there. Correct?
Correct.
Meaning, this person, 5051, was opining, at least in your mind, you interpreted that as being Boston police are going to have a lot to answer for, given the fact that another Boston police officer was found dead on that officer's lawn. Correct?
Objection.
What were you thinking?
Can't speak to the mindset to that comment. I wasn't sure how to interpret that one.
All right, next question, Mr. Jackson.
Then 5051 changes gears and he writes, she hot at least, correct?
Okay, so here, this is when we're getting into him, Proctor, and his buddies basically talking about the defendant, or at least at that time, I don't remember if she was a suspect or a person of interest, one of the two.
Yes.
And what was your response to that?
From all accounts, he didn't do a thing wrong. She's a whack job cunt.
From all accounts, he didn't do a thing wrong. She's a whack job cunt. That's what you wrote, correct?
Correct.
16 hours into this investigation,
Yes.
into your objective and unbiased, thorough investigation, correct?
Correct.
But sir, you didn't have all accounts, did you?
What I meant by that was
Did you or did you not have all accounts in your investigation?
the accounts we had was Miss Reed struck Mr. O'Keefe with her vehicle, discovered taillight pieces at the scene. Those are the accounts we had.
Oh, I
The
see.
accounts
And then
you
some.
had, I'm sorry, go
I
ahead.
see what Jerome did there.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
The accounts you had, Trooper Proctor, were from two people named McCabe and one named Albert, who happened to be the homeowner and a
I
Boston
think I
cop.
got it.
Those are the
Okay.
accounts from percipient witnesses that you had,
Yes,
correct?
this was.
There was another
Boston.
additional witness that we had investigators had interviewed, Miss Roberts as well.
And from all accounts, he didn't do a thing wrong. That was your decision 16 hours into the investigation, correct?
Yes.
And the other decision that you made and the other determination you came to was my client, Karen Reed, was a whack job cunt, right?
Yes.
That's crazy.
What else did you say in response to she's hot at least? Or she hot at least, question mark.
So following that text, I responded, yeah, she's a babe. Weird Fall River accent, though. No ass.
I don't know the no ass part.
Yeah, she's a babe. Who's the she?
Miss Reed.
Weird Fall River accent, though. You talking about her, the way she talks?
The accent.
Do you have an
And
accent?
no ass. Now you're talking about her body or physique, correct?
Yes.
You think that's appropriate?
Absolutely not.
Then Bird chimes in
Yeah.
with a little comedy. Not newsworthy then, correct?
Correct.
In other words, well,
Oh, the retrial is definitely going to be insane. I mean, for the most part, the prosecution, the lead prosecutor is different, and the defense also, they added I believe his name is Alessi. So I don't know what the prosecutor is going to do with this guy. I just do not know what they're going to do with this guy.
She didn't have an ass.
Oh, and here's the thing, though. Now that I think about it, because again, I'm thinking about this case in real time. Here's something else I had not considered, because this entire time I was just, considering whether the prosecutor will still call what's his name, Proctor, right? They really have no choice but to call Proctor, because let's say Proctor's unavailable for whatever reason. I don't know, something happens to him and he's just unavailable, right? The defense can pretty much bring in this prior, they can bring in the prior testimony from the first trial. So for the prosecution, again, sometimes whenever an individual is reading something on text versus actually hearing, or even hearing versus watching a person's demeanor, it could relay a completely different message for the jury. So, yeah, actually, there's no way for the prosecution out of this. They're gonna have to bring him in, because if they don't bring him in, the defense is going to bring in his prior testimony. Because again, exception to the hearsay rule. Yeah, the prosecution has to bring Proctor back on the stand. And the reason why they have to bring him back on the stand is because the jury would be able to assess his demeanor. Because again, basically him saying that she's a whack job cunt or whatever, on paper, overall, it sounds bad. But for the prosecution, if the jury is able to assess his demeanor in the sense that he's not defensive, that might help them to an extent. But they're not getting out of this. No, not.
Nothing to see here, correct?
Objection.
Sustained.
And then 5051 says, oh, she's skating, right?
Correct.
And what did you write after that?
I'll leave it alone. I was gonna comment on Oldback. I was gonna talk about prosecutors and other professions, but I'll leave it alone.
My response was 0 chance she skated.
And then what did you write?
She's fucked.
0 chance she skates.
Jerome, that would only come into play, and the video is not official, so they're going to have to read it into the record, read it for the jury, or make the transcripts available. But Proctor's not getting away from this. There's just parenting. Hold on.
She's fucked, right?
Correct.
You decided on the 29th of January, 17 hours into this investigation, she's fucked, right?
I'm sorry. This girl really needs to be
0
asleep. She needs to be asleep, but I was way behind schedule because, as I said, I started cleaning and doing laundry and all types of things. And before I knew it, it was 8 p.m. All right, let's get into it. Let me see. Fever said, body language and speaking in a way you can make the jury like you did it. What are you saying, Fever? I don't know. Fever is always caps. I mean, he does use punctuations, though. Not everybody uses them, but yeah, I think you're saying that the jury is able to assess body language. Oldback says he's passionate with a curse words. Yeah, Jackson's definitely trying to make a point. It's not enough for Proctor to just admit to it, but Jackson is making sure that the jury actually hears what Proctor said about his client.
chance she skates. She's fucked, right?
Correct.
Yep. Definitely.
You decided on the 29th of January, 17 hours into this investigation, you decided individually, Trooper Proctor, you're not only going to put it on the girl, you decided you're going to make sure this is cut and dried, and the way you're going to do it is to make sure that she's fucked. That's what you were saying.
Objection.
All right, so that's sustained. The content's fine. You have to ask it differently.
17 hours into this investigation, Trooper Proctor, you made the decision
What mistake
that
did
you were
make?
going to
Eva?
put it on Miss Reed, didn't you? Put the case on Miss Reed. She was going to catch the case, correct?
No, absolutely not.
What did you mean then when you said she's fucked?
After the day's investigation with multiple troopers conducting multiple tasks and a
Oh, I'm
debriefing,
sorry. That was actually for Brooklyn. What do you mean by she made a mistake? Who? Me or Karen?
I can't PD amongst detectives in my office. We went through
Yeah, Fever.
the overwhelming amount of evidence against
Yeah.
Miss Reed that she struck Mr. O'Keefe with her vehicle. That's what I meant by that comment.
What you meant by that comment, Trooper Proctor, was you were going to make sure because 5051 had said she's going to skate. She's skating. When you said 0 chance she skates, she's fucked. What you meant was, I am going to make sure Ms. Reed doesn't skate. She's fucked. That's what you meant, isn't it?
Objection.
Sustained.
And then Bird decides to chime in. Good, no ass bitch, right?
That's crazy.
Yes, that's what he wrote.
And how did you respond to Bird saying, good, no ass bitch?
I laughed.
Thought that was funny, did you?
I mean, old bag said it was funny, so maybe he gets a pass. No, maybe no.
Trooper Proctor, thought that was funny?
It was
Everybody
unprofessional
was
of me.
funny.
That's something I shouldn't have done.
Well, I think we all know it was unprofessional. It was a lot of things. I'm asking
Yep.
you, did you think it was funny?
No, according to my response at the time, apparently.
Yeah, Fever. That's Karen Reed. Yep.
Then you sent a picture just to
Oh,
add to it,
please.
to pile on, of Miss Reed
On a Jerome.
being arrested,
people.
correct?
I don't. Not sure if that came from me, sir.
Let's skip to 2543. Are you there, Trooper Proctor?
Yes.
He's
The
not
date is
home.
now February 2nd, 2022. And a person by the name of Doc writes, is that chick a smoke? Correct?
Correct.
Who's the chick?
Miss Reed.
And you write
Jerome.
E-H, right?
The
Yeah.
dog's name is Chloe. Okay.
Yes.
And then you write nutbag, as Chief would say, correct?
Correct.
Who's Chief?
A friend of mine.
I don't know. Are they really upset, or is that just how? Maybe that's just how they speak.
And then you write what?
She's got a leaky balloon knot.
Trooper Proctor, explain to the jurors what a balloon knot is.
Your essentially, I guess, your rectum area.
Your anus?
Yes.
Jackson was.
That's what you were referring to about Miss Reed?
Yes.
And you were making fun of her because you believed at that time that it leaked?
What's funny?
That's how you were treating Miss Reed? Yes or no?
Yes.
And then you followed that up just to make sure you cleared up any mistake about what you meant with leaks poo, correct?
Objection.
All right, so I'm going to strike that. You could get this in, but do it the right way, Mr. Jackson.
You followed that up with the phrase leaks poo, didn't you?
I did.
The old bag said she's a little pancake, so old bag is a little pancake, so she can, laugh about other pancakes. Okay. Yeah, Crohn's disease. The fever, leave that girl alone. All right, let's get into.
Again, another reference to Ms. Reed's medical issues and medical conditions, correct?
Correct.
Specifically focused on her anus, correct?
In reference,
I
yes.
had to say her anus. He's breathing hard.
Were you aware at the time that you wrote this that Ms. Reed had suffered a colectomy surgery, very serious surgery?
I was not, sir, no.
Were you aware that she had had 10 surgeries in 18 months, several years prior? 10.
I was not aware of that.
Were you aware that she had serious medical issues, gastrointestinal medical issues that she suffered with, she was a victim of for years? Did you know that?
Objection.
Sustained.
But you decided that you were going to take another shot at her and talk about her anatomy.
1 second, sir. Sorry.
What's going on?
All set.
I'm sorry. Christine. You decided that you were going to take another shot at her and talk about her anatomy as a balloon knot, correct?
Objection.
Sustained.
At this point, Trooper Proctor, Miss Reed was just reduced to a punchline to you, wasn't she?
Objection.
Sustained.
Well, you weren't done yet. This chat doesn't end yet, does it?
No, sir.
Let's skip to 2543.
I bet you this man doesn't text no more. Well, maybe he does. Probably still does.
On the same date, February 2nd, 2022, about 4:15 p.m., a person by the name of Whitey wrote, "What are you guzzling on?" Correct?
Yes.
And you wrote, "Nothing, writing a warrant." Is that right?
Correct.
Whitey then shares some sort of a video, correct?
Yes.
You remember that video being of the 1980s band Warrant?
I don't recall the video he sent.
0095 laughed and then wrote, "Wait, why does her asshole leak?" Correct?
Yes, that's what he wrote.
And then what did Doc write in response to that?
Objection, Your Honor.
The objection is sustained. I'll see you at sidebar. Take that down, please.
She's not having it. All right, let's see. Oh.
Without
that-
reference to
Take that down.
without reference to the
Okay.
specifics of what was.
I'm going to see counsel at sidebar.
Sure.
Oh, that's pancake. All right, to all the pancakes out there, let's have a moment of silence for what only syrup will make better. Little booties matter, okay? All right, let's see. Come on. Oh, shoot.
Trooper Proctor with
I don't even have the audio on.
Trooper Proctor, without getting to the specifics of the words used in the following, in the next exchange that you're looking at, it's fair to say that your high school buddies then continued to discuss
Investigator.
Ms. Reed's medical issues, correct?
Objection.
Jerome said extra butter. Oh my goodness.
That's sustained. Come on, Mr. Jackson. That isn't what you said you'd ask. Go ahead and ask the question you said you'd ask.
Was there a continued discussion that finished on this subject matter?
Yes.
Ugh. Oh, pancakes.
On Monday, you indicated that your conduct in this case, and specifically your conduct as reflected in these messages, how did you put it? It did not affect the integrity of the investigation, of your investigation, correct? That's what you
Correct.
said to the jurors.
Correct.
you know what the definition of integrity is?
Doing the right thing when no one's looking.
When no one's looking.
It means the quality of being honest and having strong moral principles, correct?
Objection.
Sustained.
Do you believe that integrity means being honest and having strong moral principles?
I believe that's part of it as well.
Do you stand by that testimony that you were showing strong moral principles in this investigation, sir?
In the investigation part, absolutely. Through these text messages, absolutely not. They were juvenile and regrettable.
That's a trained officer.
When you say they're juvenile and regrettable, it sounds like you're almost apologizing to the jury for your conduct. Is that what you're doing?
For those texts,
Objection.
Sustained.
Trooper Proctor, have you ever apologized to Miss Reed?
Objection.
Sustained.
As a lead investigator in this case, you were tasked with the responsibility of making sure that the investigation remained free of any conflicts of interest. It's part of your job, correct?
correct.
Throughout the pendency of this investigation, in this case, you've denied having any conflict of interest in this case. Isn't that right?
Correct.
In fact, a couple of months ago in February of 2024, you testified in a different proceeding. Is that right?
Yes.
And you testified under oath in that proceeding on February 1st that you did not know any members of the Albert family or McCabe family, correct?
Certain members of the Albert family I did not know. I know Chris
Dang, you
and
guys
Julie and
abandoning,
Colin. I don't know the McCabes.
That wasn't my question.
pancakes.
Did you testify? Let's take them one at a time.
Mm-hmm.
Did you testify under oath, same oath you took here today, in a former proceeding in February of 2024, that you did not know and did not have any relationship with members of the Albert and McCabe families? Did you?
I haven't had a chance to review those minutes. I've only had one opportunity to, and that was a couple months ago. So I would want to review those minutes in order to answer that accurately.
You can't remember how you testified, whether or not you knew or had relationships with the Alberts and McCabes?
Objection.
Sustained.
As you sit here right now, you need to refresh your recollection. You can't remember what you said.
Objection.
Remember, I answered.
Do you remember what you said?
During that proceeding, no.
That's a trained
Would
witness.
refresh your recollection if you took a look at those grand jury minutes.
Yes.
What page, Mr. Jackson?
This is page 01563.
I don't know what you guys are talking about. It apparently doesn't.
Can I have just a moment, Your Honor?
Yes.
The officer has no memory.
May I approach?
Yes.
If you'd review that and look up when you're finished.
Man, he never looks up. Oh, man does not remember a thing.
There, Your Honor.
Okay.
Would that refresh your recollection about a question and answer that you had, or series of questions and answers that you had while you were testifying under oath in that other proceeding?
Yes, sir.
Objection. May we approach?
Yes.
Jerome, so he had a hearing today He had a hearing before the police trial board. Okay, I don't know if they've made a decision or not. I was gonna say we can get into that tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm not live, you guys. It's Friday. Tomorrow I'm not live. I'll be back on Monday. I'll take tomorrow to fold my laundry and finish washing my laundry and doing other things. So yeah. Okay, we have 20 minutes, folks. 20 minutes, and then I need to call it a night. Again, I'm sleep deprived. I have to be up early tomorrow. I don't have to be in the office early tomorrow, but I'd like to read, and I need to work out.
You are unmuted.
I need to work out.
May I, Your Honor?
Yes.
Thank you.
But
You were asked the question.
Proctor's currently on leave without pay. So, yeah. I know I was going to start talking about disciplinary actions. Let's move on. Move on.
Quote, did you communicate with First Assistant DA Beeland that you did not know and had no relationship with the Albert and
Even
McCabe families?
funny.
And you answered, quote, to the best of my recollection, the same conversation took place with everyone I talked to about this. Because
Hi, Fever. I don't exactly know how to respond to that, but okay. I know that I have you in my corner. When I need a reference, a job reference, I'll definitely reach out. Okay, you can tell them how entertaining I am up here.
it's the same answer. It's the facts that I shared with everyone. Question, meaning you told First Assistant Beeland that you didn't know, didn't have a relationships with
Objection, Your Honor.
members of the Albert and McCabe families. Answer, correct.
Yes, that's
So,
correct.
so your question is whether he said this?
Correct. Whether that's his testimony. Do you recall that?
Yes.
And that's your testimony that you, in fact, told members of the DA's office that you did not know and did not have a relationship with
Listen,
the.
I've not been on Fashion Nova in years, probably 5 years. These prices have kind of gone up. I don't know if this has anything to do with the tariffs, but it's, I don't know. It's a little, I don't know if I want to pay this much money for fast fashion.
Alberts or McCabe's, is that right?
I did not know the McCabe's. I don't know most of the Alberts, and I have little to no relationship with Chris and Julie. So that's what I meant by that answer.
Well, the question wasn't, did you know most of the Alberts? The question was, did you have a relationship with, or did you know the Alberts? And your answer was no.
No, I don't have a
You're a
relationship with
kid
the Alberts.
Of an Albert.
Or know them.
I don't know the McCabe's. I don't have a relationship with the Alberts.
So you do
You
know
asked-
the Alberts, correct?
I know some of them, Julie and Chris.
And Colin, correct?
Correct, and Colin.
And you knew the Alberts when you gave this testimony in February of 2024. Is that right?
Yeah, they asked if there was any relationships.
And
Technical.
let's try this again. Meaning you told First Assistant Beeland that you didn't know, didn't have relationships with members of the Alberts and members of the Albert and McCabe families. Answer, correct.
Mhm.
Was that ambiguous in your mind?
The way I interpreted relationships was basically being like friends or, communications, frequent communications. That's how I interpreted
Well, that might have
relations.
been a good time to pipe up and say, well, I know Chris and I know Julie and I know Colin, correct?
Objection.
Sustained.
That might have been a good time to answer the question, I know these three individuals from the Albert family, right?
Objection.
Sustained.
But your answer was one word, correct, right?
Yes.
You further testified that you never have gone to any supervisor at Massachusetts State Police to disclose even a potential conflict of interest in this case that you might have, correct?
Correct.
And you indicated the needs never come up. Is that right?
Correct.
You also told
What's going on in
ADA
the
Lally
chat?
that you, quote, did not have relationships or know members of the Albert or McCabe families,
Thank you,
correct?
Fifa.
Correct.
And that's just not true, is it? You did know, you do know
Yeah, they're going
members
out.
of the Albert family. Isn't that right?
It's different from having a relationship with people.
But what about
Yeah, that's what I was saying, Jerome. Definitely Jackson is aggressive in his cross-examination, but it's still palatable. I still like his cross-examination.
the question?
Because he's not letting this witness off the hook, not one bit.
Did not have relationships or know members of the Albert or McCabe families. How about that part of the question?
Well, that's lumped in with the McCabe's. I don't.
Okay, so the Alberts, that's a family, obviously. Okay, they owned a dog, and the officer John O'Keefe died on their property. Okay, they were out at bars, and they were all supposed to meet up at the Alberts, and it's on his premises, on his property, that John O'Keefe died, and they're the ones that own a dog that the defense is pretty much saying may have been the culprit. But the Alberts also have a son. Who apparently has a temper, like to fight or something along those lines. I don't remember. It's been a while. And I think they might call him again on the stand. The defense, from what I recall, they were trying to insinuate that this boy, Colin Albert, may have been, the perpetrator in this case. But we also have the McCabe's, again, other friends. The real relevance of the McCabe's is Jennifer McCabe. I mean, they were all interviewed by law enforcement, but Jennifer McCabe searched up how long to die in snow, something along those lines. And her testimony was that she did that at the direction of Karen Reed.
I know the McCabe family, sir.
I see. So what you did, Trooper Proctor, is you dissected the sentence. And where relationships are concerned, you ignored that in terms of the Alberts because you don't have relationships. Where no is concerned, you link
Jerome,
that
what are
to
you
the
talking
McCabe's because you
about?
don't know the McCabe's. That's what you did?
No.
So it's sustained. You can ask it. You can break it down, Mr. Jackson.
Not sure I can. I'll ask it a different way.
Yeah, so that's why we cannot play this at what speed did we attempt? There's some speed we attempted. Was it last week or the week before? That was way too fast for me.
How about if I just ask it this way? That was a lie, wasn't it?
No, absolutely not.
You stand by that testimony?
Yes.
That you don't know you at the time that you testified, that you didn't know the Albert
Yeah, Jerome, what do you need clarified?
or any members of the Albert family?
They don't have relationships with them.
Right.
We
My
have
question
13
is, you
minutes.
keep going back to relationships. I'm asking you, did you testify that you didn't know them?
Objection.
You ready for bed?
I'll let him have it. Do you understand the question, Trooper?
I knew Chris, Julie, and Colin.
So if you were to say, I don't know any members of the Albert family, that would have been a lie, correct?
Objection.
Sustained.
Your Honor, this is the point at which I intend to turn to tab 3, and I believe we need to approach.
Okay. Jurors, feel free to stand.
I'm talking this whole time, but my mic was muted. Anyways, I'm sorry. Let's see. All right. When do they get back? Dang, that's long.
Berg.
Elberg, best friend. Trooper Proctor, you've indicated that your
We
sister
have 11 minutes.
is one of your best friends, maybe your best friend.
Yes.
Courtney Proctor, that's your name? Courtney
Correct.
Proctor. Elberg,
I'm yawning and everything.
I'm sorry.
her last name?
Elberg.
Elberg with an L. And you're
So many
aware that
pancakes.
she is also
Good.
very, very good friends with
And-
Jillian Daniels,
and
Julie Albert.
Correct.
That's nice.
Are you aware of any circumstance in which any of the Alberts have been over to your parents' house?
Yes.
Have you ever been over at your parents' house when any of the Alberts have been at your parents' house?
Yes.
Those Alberts include Chris Albert, Julie Albert, Colin Albert, correct?
Correct.
What, microwave for pancakes?
As a matter of fact, you were on or around January 29th, 2022, you were close enough friends with Julie Albert that she had your personal cell phone in her cell phone, correct? And vice versa.
Oh, this is.
I wouldn't classify us as close friends at all.
Okay, let me get back to my question. Did you have her cell phone in your phone and did she have yours?
I can't recall if I believe I had her stored in my phone.
Tab 4. All right. If you would turn to tab 4,
And what was this marked
What
for
are you
ID?
talking
this
about?
was,
Or tell me the numbers at the bottom.
oh, I've got the sheet right here. I've got a cheat sheet. Tab 4 is triple B,
Okay.
as in Bravo.
9
Your Honor,
minutes,
for the court,
folks.
I'm looking at page 2625. You have that in front of you, sir?
Yes, sir.
Do you recognize the participants in this chat?
I do.
You do or you don't?
The number ending in 5374, you recognize that as being from Julie Albert?
Based off the content of the message, yeah, I recognize this text message from Julie.
And she texts, "This is the weekend I've been waiting for. Michael, please send ski videos if CP doesn't share with me," with a laughing face, correct?
Correct.
That text was sent on February 24th, 2022, wasn't it?
Yes.
That was less than a month after Mr. O'Keefe's death, isn't that right?
Correct.
And less than a month after you had been assigned to the investigation in which Julie Albert was a witness, correct?
Correct.
And her husband, Chris Albert, was a witness, correct?
Correct.
And her son, you knew,
What
Colin,
is-
was involved as well, correct?
Yes.
Are there
Who is
comments?
CP in that text message?
It's a nickname I have for my sister.
Courtney Proctor, correct?
Correct.
Your Honor, if I may have just a moment.
Okay.
Zoom tight.
All right, are you done? I guess not.
5, please. That's
Hold on. Hold on.
Can we move to Trooper Proctor to tab 5, please? That's triple C, isn't Charlie?
Who's breathing so hard?
Do you have that in front of you, sir?
Yes.
Proctor, Proctor, Proctor.
And this would be page 2664. If you would turn to that page, please.
Okay.
Trooper Proctor, on January 19th, 2022, 10 days before Mr. O'Keefe's death, you were texting with your sister about whether Julie Albert might be available to babysit for your own son, correct?
Yes.
So in fact, your relationship with the Alberts was close enough
Right.
that you would consider leaving your own child in the hands of Julie Albert as a babysitter, as a caregiver for your toddler,
What
correct?
does he say?
I wouldn't say close enough. I've hired babysitters that
I
I've
guess
had out, but I don't know.
Care.com.
But Julie Albert was among them. Correct?
Yes, she was an option to watch my child.
And then you personally interviewed Julie Albert and Chris Albert in this case on February 10th, 2022.
Sergeant Buchanan and I did, yes.
And that's
And you did
that's what I said previously. For these small towns, man, a lot of these people, it's just a small world. It's a small world for small towns. They do a whole lot of stuff together. The kids go to school together, play together. They probably have the same, what is this, PCP, dine at the same places, and the like.
you didn't mention a thing about your relationship with Julie Albert, Chris Albert, or Colin Albert in any report that you ever drafted in this case, did you?
I did not.
Not one word, correct?
No, sir.
Uh-oh.
You interviewed Julie and Chris Albert at about 5:30 p.m. on the 10th of February, isn't that right?
Yes.
Did either of them, Julie or Chris Albert, mention that their son Colin Albert had been at 34 Fairview Road on the night in question, January 29th?
I'd have to reread the report to refresh my memory on their statements.
Well, let me ask it a different way, if I may have just a moment.
Yes.
All right.
You wrote a report on October 12th, 2022, correct?
For which,
Concerning your interview with,
Why don't you show it to him?
I may have the wrong report.
This is Fever. This is a trained witness. Okay, he's an officer. He wants to know exactly what they're coming at, or the angle that they're going to, hit him from in order for him to respond. He's just a trained officer. He wants a specific question in order for him to properly craft his
Do you
response.
recall, Trooper Proctor, ever mentioning that whether or not Julie and Chris mentioned to you that their son had been at 34 Fairview on January 29th? Do you recall that as you sit here?
to the best of my recollection, no.
It was a very short interview with Julie and Chris, was it not?
It was typical length for the information they had to offer.
So you started the interview about 5:30 p.m. It must have been relatively short because you received a phone call by 6:17 from Julie Albert herself, correct?
I don't have the call detail record in front of me, but
Talk of the town.
okay. Yes.
Let's look at tab 6, please. Oh, it may not be in your book.
It's not, sir.
Okay, fair enough.
Then what happened to Benji? Where did Benji go?
You indicated that you might need to look at a phone record or a phone log to determine whether or not
Where are you,
that call was
Benji?
made and what time it was made, correct?
If you have that,
May I
please.
approach you on?
Yes.
Thank you.
There's a highlighted portion, Trooper Proctor. Focus your attention on that and let me know if that refreshes your recollection.
It does, sir. Thank you.
May I approach?
Yes.
Dang, he's so respectful. He's so respectful. All right, folks. We're gonna call it a night here, okay? Need to call it a night. Again, I'm probably gonna be out for another hour. I hope it's not longer than that, but Need to get myself situated on my clothes. I'm ready for Friday. It was a stressful week, but I'm definitely ready. And I don't usually drink beer when it's cold. It's kind of cold, so I'm not drinking beer until, the summer. But I was thinking today, I'm like, with everything going up, I wonder how much a Corona is, because that's my beer. All right, that's what I like to drink. In any event, Jerome does not sound too happy right now. You'll be fine, Jerome. We will reconvene on Monday. I hope you guys have a fantastic. Hope you have a fantastic weekend. And then I guess on Monday we will. You need to do what? What is old bag talking about? No, old bag. He already called while I was on here, and I had to ignore the call because I hate it when people reject my calls. So I don't reject calls. I just watch the phone ring. All right, so let's call it a night. I have about an hour, and then I definitely need to go to bed. There's no way around that. Again, I hope you guys have a good weekend, have a safe weekend. And then again, reconvening Monday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, and shout out to the replay crew. Big shout out. Yeah, Jerome, that's what we agreed on, right? We'd agreed that I'll consistently be live Monday through Thursday, okay? And then Friday, I get to, do my thing. And even Brooklyn's not here on Fridays. So, yeah, and Saturday, I parent, Sunday, I parent and polish floors and the like. Yeah, so Monday, that is correct. So you guys again have a good weekend. I'll talk to you later. Send me an email. If you really miss me, send me an email, okay? All right, bye.